Greetings, mighty companions, and welcome back to Transforming Relationships Through a Course in Miracles with us, the Quinns.
Yes, and Holy Spirit, thank God.
Oh yes, of course. Don't want to do anything with our higher self there.
Right.
And Greg and I, on Sundays and Tuesdays, we let Spirit choose through the random number generator what and where, and of course we read, and we take that section and we apply it to our relationship and to all of our relationships so that we can experience the miracles of joy and peace and healing and abundance that applying these ideas to our relationship brings. That's what we do on these twice weekly broadcasts. That's what we do, and this week we are doing part 2 of interpreting the motives of others. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
It says this is a very, very important topic because analyzing the motives of others like we do from our past perspectives is actually hazardous to us. That's what A Course in Miracles tells us in this section, is that if you are analyzing the motives of others based on your past instead of Spirit's judgment, then you are literally putting hazards on your path.
And if we're interpreting the motivations of others based on our interpretation, that's, I think last week we were joking around saying that's like reaching under the kitchen cabinet and reaching for the jar that has hazardous written across it, poisonous, dangerous, and we don't think for 2 seconds like a little child that doesn't know what they're doing and gulping that poison down whenever we're trying to get what the motivation is of others by using our interpretation.
Exactly.
And tonight I'd like us to think a little bit about, let's go back to the lesson that we spent 3 weeks on prior to this one, the fear of redemption.
The fear of love.
You could say, I was going to say the fear of love, because that's exactly what it is. Those 3 weeks really shook me up. They really woke me up, because I've always felt, since I was a kid, I want to do God's work. I want love. I want to be with my Creator. And a part of me really believes that, and a part of me really knows that that's true, as we were told and reminded that we really do have a burning, intense love and desire for our Creator. But there's this split off personality of us that believes that by coming back home, coming to Creator, that we would be smeared into obliviation. There'd be nothing left of us. And even though we would leap into love's arms and we know that if we came close to love, just come close to love, there's a part of us that knows we would just leap back into heaven, leap back into the kingdom, leap back into love's arms. And there's a part of us that just scares the living dickens out of us. It really rattles us to think that, I'd be back into total bliss, love, but I would no longer be. My identity would be shattered. I'd be forgotten. I'd be no more. And
I wouldn't have any more control.
I wouldn't
which
go
is
to
the
control.
The real fear of love.
Right. And so let's think a little bit of that lesson of how we, because we're so afraid to go back home, to return into Creator's loving arms. We're so terrified of that we're using everything that we can come up with in our made-up arsenal. Hate, bitterness, strife, anger, attack. All of these we think are just weapons that we're keeping. Stay back, love. I want you, love. no, stop it, love. And I was reminded in reading the wrong section tonight before class that we are far more terrified and afraid of love than we are of being tortured, of crucifixion. I mean, wow, think how much that we are afraid of being attacked and tortured and crucified. But yet we are told that compare that to our made-up fear of love. We have that strong of a fear of love. So of course, when you're that terrified, you'll throw a dishpan across the room. You'll do anything you need to do to keep what you're afraid of at bay from you. And that's been our wake-up call lately is, and especially to us spiritual workers, us light workers. You know, Anna wrote a beautiful poem there, and I don't know if we'd have time or the means for her to read it, but basically it started out, and when she read, I got chills, I got goosebumps. This beginning of her poem where it said, "It's go time, spiritual workers."
Light workers, it's go time.
It's go time. And I didn't know what that meant, but it put the back of my hairs to notice. And it's go time, meaning, come on, light workers, we got to realize that we got a job to do, but to do the job, we have to come to grips with reality. And the reality is we're afraid of love.
Yes.
We're afraid of heaven. We're afraid of healing. And to recognize that in our brothers and sisters, which would be much easier, as we're going to read tonight, to remember that they're also, like us, terrified of coming back home to heaven, to love, to their Creator, to our source.
Unconsciously.
Yes.
Unconsciously.
And so when they're perceivingly attacking or acting angry or throwing dishpans across the room at us, we can more quickly remember, oh yeah, they're afraid of love. Well, of course they're going to throw a book at me if they're afraid of love and love's approaching. Of course they are.
That's right. Beautiful. And that's a beautiful segue from what we did 3 weeks ago to now. So this is interpreting the motives of others, part 2.
Part 2.
All right. And so we just said, yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Are some light workers, some people who have hit rock bottom, trying everything but love, giving and receiving? Yes. Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Yeah. Well said.
Wow, Monica.
Yeah. So okay. So this section is talking about that interpreting the motives of others, which we do, is something that is hazardous to us. So if you want to have a straight path without hazards across your path, this section tells you how to have a clear path, how to not set up hazards for yourself. And it is this: stop interpreting the motives of others unless you are interpreting their motivations according to how Spirit interprets other people's motivations, okay? And we are judging people's motives according to our past. Spirit is judging and interpreting their motivations according to knowledge. And here's what Spirit knows about everybody's actions and their motivations. This is what Spirit knows. This is the truth. Spirit knows that everything that somebody does is either love or a call for love.
One or the other.
Every action, every thought that somebody has is either love or a call for love. That is the only interpretation of motivation that is accurate, true, and makes any sense. And he says, but if you decide that someone is really trying to attack you or desert you or enslave you, then you will respond as if they had actually already done so. Okay? And so if you interpret someone's motivation as something besides love or call for love, you're going to react to your interpretation as if your interpretation is correct, and you'll be wrong, and you will be setting up attack for yourself. Okay? And it says that when you are analyzing the motives of others, your analysis is complicated, obscuring, and never without the risk of your own ego projection. And when you are analyzing the motives of others, not according to Spirit's judgment, but according to your past, all you're really doing is trying to demonstrate your ability to understand what you see. So if you're going to interpret people's motivations any other way than Spirit does, all you're really trying to do is demonstrate you understand what you're seeing. I know what I'm seeing. I know what they did. I know what this means. I know why they did that. Okay? We're trying to demonstrate that our ability to understand what we see. We're trying to prove that we know something, right? That we're smart. Okay?
And the truth is that, as we were told last week, is that interpreting the motives of others requires zero
effort. Yep.
On our part. Zero effort on our part.
Right.
And if you think about it, if we're trying to fight off love, I mean, we're trying to make sure love doesn't come near, or I'll leap into heaven.
It's a lot of effort.
I'm like a magnet that knows that if the other magnet comes by, I can't help it. You know,
Right.
So I gotta keep myself away from that. And so, of course, I would be throwing out false interpretation that will create hate, that will create all the weapons that I need to fight off my enemy, which is
Love.
perceived to be love.
Right, and truth.
So, of course, I'm going to be like the worst person in the world
Yes.
to give out and render judgment on what your motives are. Because
Exactly.
if I want to if my true agenda is to keep myself from love, then
that's perfect.
Imagine the BS I'm going to come up with to make sure that we get in a fight because of my interpretation. But I'm convinced my interpretation's real, because after all, the story I made up in my mind sure adds up.
That's right. Yeah, but now I don't even have to imagine that. We've all lived that.
And so it makes more sense why no effort is required on our part to get the only interpretation that makes any sense, which is the Holy Spirit's interpretation.
Yes.
That's the only one that makes any sense. Ours doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all.
Not unless you understand the motive behind it.
Exactly.
Then it does make sense. But it's like, oh, I see what you're doing there, Greg. Is you're afraid of coming back home, so you're going to use your interpretation of what Anna's doing, and you're going to justify it with all kinds of reasoning and logic in this world, and to come up with your reason to attack, justification.
Exactly. And so there is only one interpretation of all motivation that makes any sense. And since it's not your interpretation, it's Spirit's interpretation, then just like Greg said, it doesn't require any figuring out or any analysis or any effort on your part. And Spirit's one interpretation of all motivation is every loving thought is true, and everything else is a call for healing and help. Okay? That is what it is. And we are in chapter 12, section 1, in both books. Okay?
12:1.
12:1.
And we're moving on to paragraph approximately the end of 3, coming up to 4.
Right, and we're just doing a recap now of the first 4 paragraphs, and then we're going to start back on paragraph 5. And this is the hazard of analyzing the motives of others, part 2. All right. So, Greg, and it says, there's only one interpretation of motivation that makes any sense. It's not yours, it's Spirit's, and it is every loving thought is true, and everything else is a call for love, or a call for help and healing. That's all it is. And then it asked us a great question. Can you respond with anger to a brother or sister's call for love or call for help?
Not if you recognize
Right, no.
it for what it really was.
If you recognize it for what it is, then you won't feel justified in responding with anger because you recognize that it's a call for help. Now, sometimes. Most of the time, when somebody is calling for help, we don't recognize it as a call for help.
No, we recognize it as a good old-fashioned reason for a game of attack.
Exactly. Most of the time, when somebody is calling for love, what we see is they're attacking me. They're trying to desert me, enslave me, or imprison me. That's what's going on here. That's how we interpret most people's calls for love.
Says my interpretation.
Exactly. So just know, if you are perceiving anybody, if you're interpreting anybody right now as trying to desert you, enslave you, or imprison you in any form, just know that you are misinterpreting, you are misreading somebody's call for love, their call for help, okay? And it says, now if you decide they really are attacking you, they really are attacking you to desert, slave, imprison you, you're going to react as if they had actually done so. But you'll be wrong, and you'll respond inappropriately, and you'll create some hazards upon your path that you will be running into and running over very soon. So it says, so no response but love can be an appropriate response, okay? Because that is all anybody is asking for. That's the only thing anybody's ever asking for. No matter what they're saying, no matter what they're doing. If they aren't offering love, then they are calling for love, they're calling for help and healing.
And this is where,
Period.
just let's be honest, this is where a lot of us, I know myself growing up in A Course in Miracles, from 2017 to present, I'm still a baby.
ACIM baby.
Yes, I just got out of diapers not too long ago. But a lot of us at this junction of the Course in Miracles, it's so easy hearing this stuff and then going, well, this can't all be right because are you telling me that so-and-so when they did such and such, that
to me,
that wasn't, that was just them calling for love?
Come on.
Or that was love, that was...
Right. That was either love or
like
call
there's
for
not
love.
a third department store I can go shop at to get another opinion.
A third interpretation.
Yeah, come on. And this is where, in part, hopefully by now we're not even halfway through A Course in Miracles in chapter 12, and but the course by now has at least a hope that this curriculum, as we're applying it, is working in our life. So it's giving us more and more. We should be at a stage by chapter 12 where our trust level is growing. And we don't need to see so much the results before we believe those are the results when you put all the right ingredients in the match. But it's sometimes hard to believe that some of the things that people did to us from our vantage point,
was just a call for love.
Just a call for love.
Absolutely.
That's kind of trying for some of our stories that we have.
That's extremely difficult. And but when you start applying Spirit's interpretation of their motivations, even if you don't quite see it fully yourself, once you make the correct interpretation, Spirit's interpretation, then the truth will be revealed. So let's say somebody is in your perception trying to desert, attack, or enslave or imprison you, and you go, oh, well, okay, Course in Miracles said that that's just a call for love. Okay, even though you don't see it, just because you've applied Spirit's interpretation, very soon you'll go, oh my God, that person was angry and attacking that day because their beloved dog just died, and they were just hurting. They were hurting and they were scared, And, oh, I see, they were just calling for love and calling for help, but it was disguised in an attack.
And it could be that, and we could play this game, that's kind of the point here, is it could be something happened like a dog that just passed away that they've had for many years. And it could be the recognition through spirit's eyes of, oh wow, that's how terrified they are of love.
That's right, exactly.
That's how terrified. We talked about the dog shelter. It's funny, this really 45 minutes before class, I watched a short video clips, and it was a little baby kitten that was out in this lady's backyard under some bushes. How it got there, nobody knows. But the kitten was like, you know, every time she tried to get close to it,
it would swat.
Would either swat with its little sharp baby kitten claws, or it would, like a tiger, it would just lunge forward and try to bite her. She had literally had to put gloves on to get the little kitten, and it was biting her fingers and trying to get at her like crazy. And the video was just her going through the process of nurturing not just food or nurturance to this little kitten and warmth, but to inject love back into this, because the kitten was so incredibly afraid. It was terrified. And when we recognize that that's what the person in that story is coming at us with, the whole story changes, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, only those who are afraid or feel deprived of love attack in the first place.
That's it.
You know,
that's the only reason.
That's
the
only time people attack. When a person is certain that they're loved and safe and supported, then they're only generous and loving and kind. You know, the only people who act in a controlling, attacking, so-called mean way is people who feel like they didn't get love, or they don't have love.
Right.
And so it is the truth. It's not just a nice thing to say that they're either giving love or they're calling for love. That is a fact, because those who know they are loved, they give only love. And those who don't know that they are loved, then they attack to protect themselves.
And they show up in our backyard every day, all the time, and they're just frightened little fur balls, you know, that
frightened children of God
that have lost their way
yes,
home.
Exactly.
They've lost their parent.
That's right.
And then the embodiment of love, the reflection of heaven itself, shows up in you and I.
Right.
And so often we're caught off track because they went out to claw us and bite us and literally attack us.
Yes.
Because they're so afraid of who we represent, love.
That's right.
And now we have a choice to make. Okay, whoa, I can use my interpretation of this, and if I do that, it's going to really screw everything up. There's only one interpretation of this little kitten story that makes any sense, and that's love's interpretation of what's going on here. And what love sees is this is a child of God, as you say, and they're afraid of love. And I want to use your body as a communication device. I want to use your hands, I want to use your feet, your mouth, your ears, your eyes, all of you as a way to say,
to give love.
And I'll show you what to do. I'll show you, just put some gloves on your hands.
Yes.
Come on, get up close to them. Show them it's all right.
That's right. And you know, it's like applying the interpretation of motivation of spirit literally in a way gives you x-ray vision, like a superhero.
Yeah.
And exactly. So, you know, and so now you have x-ray vision, so now the person who's attacking and mean and defending who's like seems to be attacking you, you now have X-ray vision to see right through the mask,
right through the ego
mask, the anger, the attack, to see behind that they like, I'm afraid, I don't feel loved, I don't feel loved, I feel afraid, I need help. And then you're like, oh, this mean bully is afraid, they need help, I'm gonna give them help, right? I'm gonna be loving. And so anyway, I was just like that, and for you to put on Spirit's interpretation of motivation glasses, it takes no effort at all on your part, because all you have to do is look to go, is that love or is that a call for love? That's all you got to do. That's all involved in interpreting people's motivations accurately, like Spirit does. And when you are interpreting people's motivations accurately, now, and only now, your responses will be appropriate, which means really actually helpful. Okay, beautiful. And so now, then it says something very interesting, and we're still recapping paragraphs 1 through 4, and it says there is nothing at all to prevent you from recognizing all calls for love as exactly what they are. It's the most natural and obvious perception. It's the most natural and obvious truth that you could see. So it should be totally natural and obvious to see, oh, that's, if it's not loving, it's a call for love. Well, that's obvious. The only thing that would prevent us from seeing the obvious, that's a call for love, is that we have an imagined need to attack. We have an imagined addiction to attacking, to going, I know what I'm seeing, I know what they're doing, I know why they're doing that, and I know blah, 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 and I know how to respond, And so if I didn't have an addiction to attack, an imagined addiction to attack, then it would be the most obvious and natural perception, interpretation to go that they're calling for love.
And what I think possibly that imagined need to attack, because I'm perceiving, and we're being told this is why we can't see correctly, and why our interpretation is dangerous, it's hazardous to our own health, is I have a perceived need myself to attack. And it makes more sense now, bringing back that last lesson again, because I can't forget that I'm afraid of love too. It didn't say in our 3 weeks of learning that, Greg and Anna, you two now, you're over it.
Yeah, right.
You're not afraid of love no more.
Right.
And you just need to recognize everybody else out there is attacking and acting stupid and crazy. Not you two, but just recognize they're afraid of love. No, I have a perceived need to attack myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're calling for love still.
Because I'm in truth, I'm also, truth be known, in this realm, I'm afraid of love too, and I can't forget that, because forgetting that gets me off whack too. I have to remember, because when I do remember that, then I can go, oh yeah, I better not respond.
Right, because I'm calling for love
because
too.
I'm very easily tempted, like a switch. I can turn that switch on, and boy, like a hound dog, I'm going to use this for me, for my perceived need to attack. Because I have a call for love going on all the time, because I'm afraid of love too. That's a confession. Because it's a truth in this realm. I am afraid of love. Why? Because I don't want to give up who I am. I don't want to give up me any more than they do.
And we don't want to give up the illusion of control.
Right.
Independent. Exactly. And so, seeing that somebody who's attacking and angry is literally calling for help, calling for love, that's the most obvious, natural, interpretation in the world.
Right. Oh,
You know,
look at that.
and so, you know, it's like if you see a little kitty, you know, who, you know, is out there on their own, and you, like you said, you see the kitty swatting away someone trying to save it, well, that's totally obvious. It's totally obvious that the cat is scared, and that's why the cat is attacking, right? And so just as obvious as it is with the little kitten or the dog at the pound, it's also easy to see that in others, except for we have an addiction to judgment.
Right.
We have an addiction to being right, an addiction to attacking, and that's what makes us be deceived by the form that people's calls for love take. You know, where people's calls for love are masked in attack, and we're deceived by the mask because we have an imagined addiction to attack and judgment.
As crazy as it would look to you or me, that we see somebody pull some bushes away and see this little tiny kitten that's obviously lost from its home, that's obviously scared, I'm shivering, shaking,
Terrified.
totally terrified. And the person that pulls the bushes away, their response, if we were a bystander watching this from the clouds of heaven and saw the person that pulled the bushes away immediately pick up some rocks and start throwing it at this kitten. And that's how insane that we've been doing it in this world. And you'd be like watching from afar going, why are you attacking that little
kitten that's calling for help?
That little innocent, frightened, scared
kitten
being.
Yes,
that obviously is calling for help, and you're attacking it.
Exactly.
And could your interpretation be that insane?
Yeah.
And it is that insane.
Exactly.
And that's to the degree that we have to recognize where we're all at together here. Is we're all terrified together. We're all afraid together to lose our identities. We're all fighting each other because we know that love doesn't come where love's not welcome.
Exactly.
And use all these things to keep us from that.
And we all suffer with the perception that we are not loved and that we're not safe, right? We're all afraid, you know, and out of our fear, we are attacking. You know, we're all doing that, okay? It says that, it's saying that, now, so it's saying in paragraph 5, you wouldn't attack people who are actually calling for help except for your unwillingness to perceive reality, which is that they're calling for help, which you are withholding from yourself.
And again, doesn't it make more sense? It's saying the same thing again, is we would be able to see the little kitten story correctly, but because of our unwillingness, we're not willing to see reality as reality.
Right. We don't want to see.
We're refusing to.
We don't want to see that they're calling for love.
Yeah.
That they're calling for help.
We're refusing.
You know? We want to see that they're attacking us so that we can feel that our attack is justified because we need an attack fix.
Right. and keeping love from us is justified because you know, I'm only keeping love at bay from me because I'm attacking. But I only did it because they made me.
Right.
They attacked me first.
Exactly.
It's like Adam and Eve story. Why did you do that, Adam? Because they made me. It was them that started it. I'm even though I'm going to be out of the garden of heaven, out of the gates of love, it's okay. At least I know that I'm right.
Right.
I'm justified.
Okay, great. Yeah.
They attacked
I
first.
may be in hell, but at least I'm right. Now it says, it is surely good advice to tell you not to judge what you don't understand. It's very good advice. And the reason that you don't understand what you're seeing is because no one with a personal investment is a reliable witness.
Right.
Oh, I'll say that again. No one with a personal investment is a reliable witness. It's like my dad today saying, don't send me videos of people who are talking about the monetary system who also are gold brokers. you know, because what he was saying was someone with a personal investment is not a reliable witness. And I wanted to say, well, then why are you watching the commentators on TV telling you which stocks to pick? You know,
that are owned by Pfizer.
Exactly, they're owned by Pfizer. You know, but so because the truth is that if somebody has a personal investment, like let's say you know you feel that somebody attacked you or did you wrong. Now you have a personal investment. You're not a reliable witness about whether they're calling for love or not. You know, why they did that, their motivation, you're not a reliable witness. And so, because you have a personal investment in how that goes.
Well, and if you have a personal investment that you are also afraid of love because you're afraid of what love will take from you, your independence, your sovereignty, your ability to control reality. Look at me controlling reality. Look how powerful I am.
Ooh.
I'm almost like God. I can make things happen. And I'm doing all this and afraid to give up myself. That's my personal investment in this story too.
Yeah, exactly. So we could say it's really good advice to not judge what you have a personal investment in. Like a relationship, for instance. A relationship is, Greg and I have a relationship. So I have a personal investment in our relationship, which means my judgment is not going to be reliable. Because now Greg's reality has become what I want it to be, right? And so it's don't judge. It's good advice not to judge what you have a personal investment in. What you have a personal investment in is something you don't really understand because you don't have enough perspective on it, you know. So like if Greg and I are having a conflict, I am not going to have the most accurate judgment. Now somebody who's not in a relationship with us and is, you know, standing out here is going to be a more reliable witness as to what's really going on, right? So when you have a personal investment in what's going on, you cannot judge. You shouldn't judge because you are not a reliable witness. Because when you have a personal investment, now truth is going to become what you want it to be. Does that make sense? All right. It says, now, if you are unwilling to perceive a call for help as a call for help, then it's because you are unwilling to give help. And also, not only that, but to receive help.
Exactly.
You know.
It makes so much sense now.
Exactly. And so, you know, if I am unwilling to see that attack as a call for help, it's not because it's not a call for help, it's because I don't want to give you help. I don't think you deserve help right now, right? And it also means I don't want to receive help. And that's why I won't see their call for help as exactly what it is, a call for help, a call for love.
Right. And again, as we're realizing that neither one of us want to be healed, neither one of us want to be resurrected from a world of misery and pain, because that's an okay price to pay to keep my identity and myself. But think about why wouldn't I be willing? Like, you're not willing to help that person.
Why?
Why?
Because they're being mean to me.
Yeah, that's the excuse, but the Course is laying all that on not even putting it aside on the table. The Course is knocking that off the table and saying that's not it. what they did to you is not it. You have your own personal investment, your own reason why you don't want to be healed. You're not willing to give help. Why? Because you don't want help. You don't want help any more than they do.
Because you don't believe you deserve it unconsciously. And so...
Well, you don't think you want it either because of what it represents. If I'm healed, why are we all trying not to die? We're all trying to live as long as we can because we're so dreadfully fearful of what that represents. Oh, I'll go back to my Creator. Oh my gosh. Do you have anything, a surgery that can help? You got some pills I can take? Oh my gosh, anything but go back to my Creator.
Yeah.
And
which means back to love.
And that's the call for love. That's what we're all wrestling with here. And it would make sense now if that's where the fear is really coming from. Then why I wouldn't want to give help, because it doesn't make sense any other way, that I wouldn't want to help if I could really recognize they're calling for help. That just seems to be human nature, but that sounds disgusting that I don't want to help them. Oh, and also because I don't want help. And again, this is one of those things, we can either accept this as true, or we can go, well, that might be true for a lot of people, but not for me, Greg. I'm a light worker. I'm awake. I'm awoke. I'm a miracle worker. I'm a teacher of God. I'm a preacher. I'm a teacher. I'm a healer. But we think we're all those things, but we haven't even got around the first base yet, which is the awakening that I don't want to be healed either. That's why I don't want to give help, because I don't want to receive help.
Right.
I know how that karmic law works, so I'm not going to do it, because it keeps me, just like them, away from having a blissful, wonderful life, because I think that will change me into somebody else that I don't want to be.
Exactly. So what it said, the last sentence in paragraph 5 is, if you are unwilling to see a call for help as what it is, a call for help, it is because you are unwilling to give help and you are unwilling to receive help. That's the only reason why you won't see a call for help as exactly what it is, a call for help, right? And remember, either they are giving love or they are calling for love. That is the one interpretation of motivation that makes any sense or that is accurate. And if you don't see it that way, it's not because it's not true, it's because you don't want to give help. I don't think they deserve help. I don't want to give them help. I don't think they deserve help, which is really, and then behind that is unconsciously, I don't believe that I deserve help. So, and that's why I won't see all calls for help as exactly what they are. Okay. So that was paragraph 5. Now we're going to paragraph 6. The analysis of the ego's, quote, real motivation is the modern equivalent of the Inquisition. Because in both a brother's errors in the ego's real motivation and the Inquisition, both of those, somebody's errors are, quote, uncovered, and then they are attacked for their own good. Okay? So if you're analyzing the motives of others and calling it something besides a call for love, or you're the people doing the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, where you uncover somebody's errors and then attack them for their own good, that is the exact same thing. Okay? You're analyzing their motives, thinking that you're accurate, and then you attack them for their own good. That's what you're doing if you are unwilling to perceive a call for help as what it is.
Yeah. Later you go, oh, I attacked you, but I realized I had the wrong interpretation. Oops.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. But We don't. We almost never do that.
No,
we almost never do that.
But that would be the comedy story if it happened.
Right.
We are doing that.
Right. And if you are uncovering somebody's errors just to attack them for their own good, then what can that be but projection? Because their errors are in the mind. For their errors lie in the minds of their interpreters, that's us, for which they punish them. So your errors literally are a projection of mine. Your errors are coming from my interpretation, my projection, and then I'm gonna punish you for an error that's really my projection and my interpretation. That's really deep, right? Okay. So that's what's going on if we are unwilling to perceive people's calls for love as just calls for love.
Rather than attacks.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's, of course, this is that old saying, it's easier said than done. But it's not if we let Spirit do Spirit's job, because our job requires no effort at all.
No analysis.
But when Anna comes home, you know, and I'm triggered for whatever reason, I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm wanting to judge her, I'm wanting to give her guilt, and I don't know what the percentage is, if it's half the time or what, but a lot of the times our interpretation is completely wrong. They're not attacking us at all. Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of times they were being thoughtful about it.
I was grocery shopping for you, or I was getting something for you,
and
or
so
whatever.
Our interpretations, in large part, our track record is we're wrong a lot of times.
Our track record is pitiful.
Yeah, and then let's say they came through the door and it looked pretty obvious that your interpretation wasn't off.
Right,
that wasn't love they were given.
Right.
And they came through the door and the first thing was whatever they were holding in their hand came flying across the room at your head. Then you could probably, quickly get with Spirit and do a huddle real fast. Okay, what play are we gonna run this time? And Spirit would go, okay, now that wasn't loving, that was a call for love. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, exactly. They're calling for love. They're afraid of love. They think that this is going on in the world, but what really is going on is something else.
Exactly.
It's always, that's how this world survives, is we're caught up in it was something else.
Exactly.
It was never what we thought it was. Haven't we learned that by chapter 12 yet?
No.
It was never what we thought it was. It was never, our interpretation wasn't ever right. Mm-hmm. Our judgment was always wrong if it wasn't a loving judgment.
Exactly. Any time that we've decided that somebody is really trying to attack us, desert us, or enslave us, we are misinterpreting their call for love.
Yes.
Okay, and the call for love, theirs and ours, takes the form of our perception that they are trying to attack us, desert us, or enslave us. Mm-hmm. It pretty much covers the basis.
Yeah.
Right? And so, wow. Okay. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to bring us back to that. Okay? Yeah. That people's calls for love at first are disguised in a disguise that looks to us like they're trying to attack us, desert us, or enslave us. That's one of the three. They kind of all go into one of those categories.
Yeah, we don't ever see that I'm projecting on you.
No, we never go, oh, look at that, they're calling for love. But my attack addiction is really hungry. And so I'm going to attack them. No, we not, well, we don't go, man, my attack addiction is really, I'm really like seriously jonesing. Like it's been so peaceful between us, for like 48 hours that my attack addiction is like really intense. As I hope Greg comes home and just, does something stupid.
Yeah.
I hope that Greg attacks me somehow or indicates that he's going to desert me, God, I really hope he does, And then, sure enough, Greg walks through the door and I'm like, you didn't think about me, you didn't come home on time, right? Not realizing that what was really going on is that my attack addiction, I was jonesing.
Yeah.
And I had a need to attack to get my attack fix. And so Greg, who comes home, who might be calling for love or help, needs some love, I don't see that. I interpret his call for love like he's trying to desert or enslave me or attack me, okay? And that's how it really goes, but if I was able to go before Greg comes home, man, I can feel my attack, my ego is hungry, my attack addiction is really hungry, I can tell. Oh my goodness, I really don't want to feed my beast. I really don't want to feed the beast, So what I would say is, I am calling for love. I am calling for love. I am calling for help. I am calling for healing right now. And you would be speaking the truth. And as soon as you speak the truth, whether you go, that's a call for love, or I'm calling for love, what truth does is truth dispels ego. And so as soon as I tell myself the truth, I'm calling for help, then now and I don't feed that beast, then now it dissipates. Okay? Now my ego's not in control anymore.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's hard to fight when there's somebody throwing rocks and stones.
Exactly. If I realize I'm calling for help, I'm calling for love, now the only appropriate response is love, right? The only time it makes sense to me to attack myself or attack somebody else is because I don't recognize that it's a call for love.
Yeah, don't recognize what's going on.
Exactly.
It's sort of like a SWAT team, they're supposed to be trained over and over and over to run into a room and to be able to quickly assess
love or call for love.
Yeah, and we just run in the room and start shooting everybody in the forehead. Boom, 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 boom.
AKA judgment.
Yeah.
AKA analyzing people's motivations.
AKA giving out my own personal interpretation of the situation.
Exactly. All right. I love it. It's so simple. It's just so simple. It takes all the pressure off of us. It's either love or call for love. You don't need to figure anything else. You don't need to analyze. Don't need to judge. It's not complicated. You don't have to have a college degree. It literally is either love or call for love. So that's easy. What's complicated about that, right? So in paragraph 7, whenever you fail to recognize a call for help as a call for help, what's really going on is you are refusing help. I don't see it as a call for help because I don't want to give help. Yet, would you maintain that you don't need help?
Light workers?
Yeah, that's right. When you don't recognize a call for help because you don't want to give help, what you're saying is, I don't need help, I'm fine. I'm good, I'm enlightened, I'm woke. I don't need help. That's what you're really saying, okay? And do you really want to maintain that? Light workers, healers, teachers, do you really want to maintain that you don't need help anymore? That you're woke, you're enlightened, it says, yet that you don't need help because you're enlightened, you're woke. That is what you are maintaining when you refuse to recognize somebody's call for help. Because only by answering their call for help can you be helped. I'll say that again. Only by recognizing their call for help can you be helped. Now, do you need help? Would you maintain you don't need any more help? No, I definitely, I know I need help. I still need help. You know, I'm still afraid and scared and sick sometimes. Okay, great. Well, the only way for you to have help is to give it. And the only way to give help is to recognize a call for help as a call for help. So when it says answering their call for help by giving them help, it doesn't mean to help them in your own way. It means recognizing that they're calling for help, recognizing that they're calling for love. Okay? I don't have to, it's not saying I have to do anything, but me seeing it as just a call for help is helping them. That is the kind of help they need. That's the best kind of help you could give them. Seeing their ego defense as a call for love. That's really all they need. That is all the help they need. All right. So, but if you deny them your help, you will not perceive God's answer to you.
Right.
You know, if you deny them your help, you won't be able to receive God's help to you. And not because God's withholding it from you, but you won't feel like you deserve it.
See, we think we're showing up and doing such a brave thing. I'll show them that there's nothing to be afraid here. Everything's okay. You don't have to be afraid of love. Come on. Come out from underneath your fear. Come out from underneath your desire to not want to come home, prodigal child. And we can do that, and then, from what I'm hearing here, then we're going to be able to get that for ourselves from God. We'll get God's answer. Right now, we can't hear God's answer to us going, it's all right, it's okay, because we've clogged our ears up with, it's not okay, don't you accuse me of that. I came home at 7:30 because I had this to do, I had that to do, and if you had half the life that I have to put up with, getting all the stuff done. In other words, returning that attack with a perceived attack, then I'm not going to hear God gently calling me home because I don't want it. I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for that last step that God's going to take, that love's going to take. Because I'm demonstrating it, I'm not ready to come home.
Which means not ready to be happy.
I'm not ready to be in peace and joy and living the heavenly attributes that are there waiting for me. Because I don't want to give it to my brother. I don't think they're deserving of it. For what 1 million justifications that I come up with of why they don't deserve and why they should be afraid of love. You should be afraid of love. And I should be too. I join you in that thought. Let's both attack the heck out of each other.
And be miserable together.
And be miserable together.
It's called having a relationship, we learned in the past.
Yes.
Exactly. I just want somebody, if only I could find somebody to be miserable with, oh, I'd be so happy.
Yes. You promise to be afraid of love with me till death do us part?
Yes, I promise to attack love at every turn. I promise that I will misinterpret all your motivations and I will not recognize your calls for help as calls for help ever. And that instead of giving you the help you're really calling for, I'll attack you. I promise.
Oh, thank you. I finally found
a match made in hell.
Because that will give me the justification to keep love at bay from me. When you attack me, I'll feel so much better when I attack back.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much for your commitment and your understanding to my needs.
Your addiction to attack and misery.
I appreciate it.
Hey, we have a match made in hell. So wonderful. Here's our wedding registry.
Yes. Instead of Barnes and Noble, it's Guns and Noble. You can find what we need at Guns and Nobles. corners from whips and lashes.
And guns and knuckles. All right. Right. If you deny them your help when they're calling for help, then you will not receive God's help to you. All right.
All right.
Okay, great. So that was paragraph 7. Now we're on paragraph 8, and we are in the complete and annotated edition, the purple covered edition. So it might seem different than the blue covered edition, which is the edited version. Now, paragraph 8 says, I don't know how to break it to you, but Spirit does not need your help in interpreting people's motivations.
What?
I'm sorry to break it to you.
This is a reminder.
Yes, exactly. Spirit does not need your help to judge others. Spirit doesn't need you, but could you please judge that person for me? Because I'm really busy judging everyone else. Could you please assess them and interpret their motivations for me? No, Spirit does not need your help in interpreting people's motivations. Okay.
Motivation, period.
Right. But you do need Spirit's help in interpreting motivation really badly. You really need Spirit's help in interpreting motivation. Okay. And here is the Spirit's interpretation, and only appreciation is an appropriate response to them, to anyone. Wow.
Only appreciation.
That's the only appropriate response.
That takes the air out of our balloon
Completely.
a lot, because we don't see, we see a lot of justifications for not having the appreciation at all. I mean, I do not appreciate they did that.
And the Spirit is saying here that only appreciation is an appropriate response to anyone, no matter what they're doing. Isn't that deep? And then it goes on to say why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, why is it that Spirit's interpretation of motivation is that you should only be grateful for what your brothers and sisters are doing and saying? That is because gratitude is due them for both their loving thoughts and their calls for help. Why? Why should I be appreciative if they're calling for help just as much as I would be appreciative if they're giving love? Because both people's loving thoughts and their calls for help both are capable of bringing love into your awareness if you perceive them truly. If you perceive their love or their calls for love truly, if you see what they're doing truly, then whatever it is that they're doing, love or call for love, is what is capable of bringing love into your awareness.
Okay, let's look at a real call for love story that's easy to see.
Okay.
Somebody's staying on the corner of such and so place, and they have, their little child there, and they have a sign up telling why all of a sudden they're calling for help.
Why they're asking for money on a street corner.
And you pull over and feel really inspired by Spirit, and you give them some money that would make a difference, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it wasn't for that situation being there,
Mm-hmm.
how could the thought of love appear?
Mm-hmm.
And that thought,
The thought to help
the
them.
loving thought,
Yours.
is a real thought. That's not a make-believe thing, because every loving thought is real. Every loving thought extends.
More love.
And it extends. And it extends. And it goes on, we're told, forever.
That's right.
And so that situation created a loving thought.
In your mind.
Right.
Their call for help on the street corner was capable of bringing love into your awareness if you saw it correctly. So
now where we're deceived in ourselves is we don't see it in a simple story like that. We see it as, no, they weren't asking for help, they were attacking.
Or we say, they're not calling for love, they're trying to get money to go drink.
Yeah, they're scamming.
Okay, so now it's if they're scamming you. And so we interpreted their motivation not as a call for love or a call for help. We interpreted their motivation that they are scamming us. And so now we're going to react as if they already had scammed us.
Right. We'd say something as we drive by with our window down.
Like, get a job, you know. And so, but because we interpreted their motivation incorrectly as not love or a call for love, now we just told ourselves, I don't need help, I don't need financial help ever. And so now I'm not going to recognize God's help to me financially or whatever, right? So what it's saying is that the only appropriate response to what anybody does is appreciation, because their calls for help are capable of bringing love and abundance into our awareness, and their love is capable of bringing love into our awareness.
Either one creates love.
And I love
if responded appropriately.
Seen correctly.
My attacking them, going, get a job,
right,
or whatever, because of my incorrect interpretation, my attack, perceiving that they're attacking by scamming the public, is not helpful whatsoever.
It's
because
inaccurate.
Attack is not real. Attack is never justified.
That's right.
Attack is not a loving thought, and so attack is something that is not eternal. Why isn't it eternal? Because it's not even real.
And by attacking them instead of giving them appreciation and recognizing call for help, now you won't recognize the help when it comes to you. And that example of somebody asking for money on a street corner is a perfect example. It really is. Because had they not been on the corner asking for financial help, then you wouldn't have had the opportunity to give financial help to them, which really sets it up where now you are going to allow more financial help for you when you are calling for love financially. Right. And if they had been asking, then you couldn't set it up where you could have what you needed.
Exactly. Spirit, heaven plants all these blessings around us, and we're sitting there throwing stuff, rocks and pebbles at it. Yes. You know, with our judgments and our condemnation and our interpretation about everything. And it's like, I just gave Greg an opportunity to bless. They needed a financial blessing this week. And
just gave him an opportunity to receive his financial blessing. And then he saw that person was scamming him.
And he attacked himself.
Right. By misreading that person's motivation.
If he would have helped them, he could only be helping himself.
Exactly.
Why can they not see it?
Right.
How long must I bear with them, Father?
Exactly.
Just a little longer. We bear with you for a while.
Exactly. A long while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Slow learners. Yeah, if it wasn't for God and Spirit's infinite love and infinite patience, we'd be screwed. You know, so we can afford to be patient with others, okay? Because we have received that. So the person who's calling for love around you in the form of what looks to you like an attack or a scam, that is an angel that the universe sent you to help you remove the blocks to receive the help you need. That's what they are. They're an angel that the universe has sent you to you so that you can give the help to them and remove the blocks to the awareness of the help you need. That's what they are there. And And that's why it says only appreciation is an appropriate response to other people.
Right.
Okay. Even if they seem to be attacking you, deserting you, or trying to enslave you. Okay. Your only appropriate response to them is appreciation, because that call for love is exactly what you need to give help. Okay. All right. It says, and all is underlined, all your sense of strain comes from your attempts not to do just this.
So think of whatever it is in your life, in your experience, that we're experiencing strain. All, as you said, is underlined. All of our strain comes from our attempt not to respond appropriately to a call for help.
Yes.
And we want to interpret it the way we want to, as rather than have a heart of gratitude and to be thankful for this situation. We're not going to be thankful. We're going to be bitterly angry.
We're going to use it to get our attack fix.
Right. We're going to use it for that. Which we already know in part what we use that for, because we're trying to keep ourselves out of heaven. And of course we got this whole set up story to distract us from what's really going on.
Right.
But it goes deeper and deeper and deeper down into the rabbit hole of what's really going on. But at the surface level here, what's going on is, okay, we're in this bodily form, and these bodily forms are interacting with each other, and oh boy, now I have to practice again. Are they attacking me or are they loving me? Oh wait,
Are they attacking me or calling for love?
Attacking me? No, they can't, because I can't be attacked.
Right.
Why? Why can't I be attacked? The child of God can't be attacked because all that can be going on is love or call for love, and the only appropriate response would be one of love back. Because now, when I love back, I trump over the perceived attack, because attack's not real. Anything that's not loving isn't real. It's not lasting. It's not real. And so when I give a loving thought, at least I know I am making something real.
That's right.
And I'm counteracting, as you point out beautifully, that it sounds so selfish this way, but as I help, I'm being helped.
That's exactly. And they just said, you can't receive God's help until you give help to your brothers and sisters.
Right.
Why? Only because if you don't give help and give love when people are calling for it, then you won't believe you deserve it. You do deserve it, but you won't believe you deserve it, and you'll block the receiving of the help that is always being offered. So that's why he says, if you want to know your prayers are answered, if you want to receive help, then it comes from recognizing calls for love and calls for help. When you see them, recognize calls for help and calls for love as what they are, and answer with appreciation. Okay? So what does Demi say?
She said it's so emotional to see a person standing at a red light asking for money because we are stuck. Some stare you down too. I pretend I'm on a phone call. It's uncomfortable. I can relate.
And you know, I'm glad you said that, Demi, because Greg and I have a little practice where, you know, we use that. We put cash in our car. We put dollars and change in our car to make sure that when we are, you know, being stared down by the person who's asking for money on the street corner at a light, that we have money to give, because we recognize that we need help financially. And so we are like, oh good, here's another opportunity to remove a block for us to receive financial help from the universe. And so now we have trained ourselves. The Course in Miracles has trained us how to see their asking for money at the light as a call for help and a kind of help we need, right? So
I have to brag on Anna a little bit. One night we were driving home, and it was cold out. It was snowing.
It was freezing.
And there was this person crossing the crosswalk.
Major highway, major road.
Well, crossing the crosswalk with a shopping cart, pushing it in the snow. Have you ever pushed a shopping cart through a parking lot at a grocery store? But that's, that was their home. That's where their belonging. And then to top matters off, so we're coming down the road, all this traffic, and we see this person. And as Anna decides that she's going to do something about it, she takes a $100 bill, and she's going to go give this person because it's cold.
I want them to get a hotel room or something.
Want them to get a hotel room.
It was freezing.
And if matters aren't bad enough, to try to stop long enough on a road, a busy road in rush hour, where everybody wants to get home to their warm homes, the guy pushes the cart now down, starts going down the street, but it's down the street where the car's coming up this way, so we can't turn down that way. And Anna jumped out the car, goes the little tiny Anna running down without slipping or falling was a miracle in itself, but gets up to the guy, and I watched her, and I'm bragging on the Course, what Spirit impels us to do in a snap, quick reactions is, I just saw her talking to the guy, and then I seen her hug him, and it looked genuine and real, and then comes running back. I know other people have just seen it. It's a loving thought. It's a demonstration of a loving thought, and it's creating what's real and tangible. But she told the guy, to get a room.
Get a room.
She said
it's cold.
He looked,
stunned,
shocked, surprised, and then to hug him and tell him, "I love you," and then run off. It's what God would do. It's what love would do, because God wants His children to know you're not alone. You're not alone, and whatever you're going through,
you deserve help.
You deserve help.
You deserve help. You deserve love.
Until you find your way back and realize, little kitty, it's not anything scary to come out from underneath those bushes. You can come back and you can come into love's hands. I'll put some gloves on and help you out.
Yes.
And that's our part, is to be God, to be love, extended hand to what's happening out there.
Exactly.
I see we have just one more paragraph.
No, we have, let's see, 9, 10, we have 2 more. And so I just want to say something please don't. Okay. I just want to say something on that. Whatever area, Demi, your comment just inspired me.
In other ways.
Yes, Demi, where you said I give a lot in other ways.
In other ways.
Okay, and so I just want to speak to that, and I just want to say, whatever area of life it is that you feel you need help in, okay? Whatever that is, could be money, could be social, could be relations, could be health. It doesn't matter. Whatever area you're struggling in is the area you are calling for help in. Now, so whatever area of life that is, go and help, give love in that area to others, okay? Because that convinces you that you deserve help in that area. Now, you do deserve help in that area regardless of what you do, but you don't know, you won't believe you deserve help until you are offering help to others. So wherever you're struggling is where you're calling for help. So go ahead and give help. You know, you may not be calling for help financially. You may not need help financially. You may need it in other ways. So you give to others when they are calling for help in those ways. So I just wanted, like the Course in Miracles says, the only thing that's missing in any situation is what you haven't given. So if there's something that seems like it's missing from your life, it's not because there's a lack in the universe or you're surrounded by mean people who are depriving you. It's because you haven't been giving, and so you don't unconsciously believe like that you deserve it. Okay, so I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need friends. You want more friends, then be a friend.
Be friendly.
Be
Exactly.
friendly. You want to experience more kindness. You think people are being mean. A lot of mean people out there. Well, just start being kind.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you want. That's what's so great about our ability to experience life as we want. Is whatever we need, we just turn the faucet on more in that direction.
Yes.
And what better way to turn the faucet on better to, I'd like some more friends. I'd like to experience, more friends in my life.
More companionship.
And then somebody comes along not being friendly at all.
Right, exactly.
And so they obviously need more friends.
Yeah.
You see it?
Exactly. They're calling for
so,
help. They're calling
wow,
for friends.
Here's my opportunity to get some more friends, is to offer being a friend to somebody who obviously needs friends.
Exactly. And doesn't know how to make them.
Right.
When somebody doesn't know how to make them is somebody who's calling for friends.
Right. And so now I can also see how I could be grateful and
for that person.
For this person showing up, because they're showing up to offer me a way to receive what I'm looking for.
Yes, exactly. Beautiful. All right. And so now we're on paragraph 9. Beautiful, and I love it. Demi says, I definitely will. I'm a scaredy cat, and I'm a scaredy cat. I love you, Demi. You're so precious. I'm a scaredy cat, and we'll try on the missing things. Beautiful, sweetie. You're wonderful. Irene says, wherever you're struggling, give help to others, and you'll be helped. The only thing lacking in any situation is what you haven't given it. Demi says, wow, I see. Beautiful. I so appreciate you guys. Oh my God, you guys are just like, you guys are such fantastic teachers for me and Greg. Truly. I know it seems like we're like in the teacher role here, but that is not the way it is. There is a beautiful loop here going on, teaching, learning, and we value you guys for what you teach us. So I appreciate that. Okay, so it says, how simple then is God's plan for happiness, or God's plan for abundance? How simple then is God's plan for happiness? And well, what is God's plan? That's so simple. God's plan is so simple. What is God's so simple plan for happiness? It's this. There's only one response to reality. That's simple. One response, simple. That's it. One response, simple. God's plan for happiness. There's only one response to reality because reality evokes no conflict at all. There's only one teacher of reality who understands what reality is. And this one teacher of reality does not change its mind about reality. Why? Because reality doesn't change. And although your interpretations of reality are meaningless in your fearful state, Spirit's interpretations of reality remain consistently true. And Spirit gives you Spirit's interpretations of reality to you, because Spirit's interpretations of reality are for you. So you don't have to analyze anything. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to make up anything. You don't have to go get anything. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to do anything but receive or join with Spirit's interpretations of what's going on. That's it. How simple is God's plan for happiness? All you got to do is interpret things the way Spirit interprets things.
And we are given all these tools to do that. We're given the tool of knowing, okay, there's no time in reality where conflict is needed.
Right.
And so
No conflict.
There's no conflict.
Yeah. There's only one thing going on.
And when you realize that, you realize as much as it seemed like they attacked me, wow, did they just say that? Wow. But there is no conflict. There's only a call for love or love.
That's only love, a call for love.
If there's a call for love, there's no conflict.
Yeah, that means they're calling for love.
If there was a conflict, then we're going to battle, we're going to war, we're going to fight. But there's never, in reality, in truth land, you know, where God resides, where heaven is, there's no time where we have conflict at all. There's no conflict going on. So if we're perceiving conflict, then we know we're not in reality. So we're always given these tools to know how, I guess, we can gauge how far away we are from Spirit.
Exactly, your litmus test.
From home base.
Right, exactly.
I'm perceiving a lot of conflict there.
Exactly.
Then you know you're not you're a lot of ways from reality.
Right. So you really could say being happy is very simple. You know, there's only one response to other people and whatever they're doing. There's only one response that's ever appropriate. It's either love or call for love, right? And then it says in paragraph 10, do not attempt to, quote, help another person in your way.
In my way. Okay, my way.
Which means your past way.
Well, I'm offended.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm sorry, but please don't help me in your way.
Wow.
Your way of helping is not helpful. And my way of helping others is not helpful.
And are you going to tell me don't take it personal?
And yes, and it's nothing personal. Exactly. Nothing personal. Please don't help me in your way.
Ever. Not till we get home safely back to mommy and daddy.
Because listen, our way of, quote, helping others is I'm going to point out your error and then I'm going to correct it and punish it. And you're welcome.
And they're going to beat you for your own good.
Exactly. That's our way of helping. That's our retarded way of helping people. You know, is I'm going to point out your error and then I'm going to punish you for it. You're welcome. He says, do not help a brother in your own way because you can't even help yourself. So instead of trying to help other people in your way, your past way, just do this. Just hear their call for the help of God. That's it. So what's me not helping them in my way? I just hear that they're calling for love. They're calling for the love of God. They don't know they have the love of God. That's what's going on. Yeah. And they're just calling for the remembrance that they are loved. Okay? That's what it means to not help others in your way. So do not attempt to help people in your way because you can't even help yourself. But the way you should help them is just hear their call for the help of God. And if you'll just hear their call for help, then you will recognize your own need for the help of God. In other words, your interpretation of their need is your interpretation of your need. By giving help, you are asking for help. And if you perceive only this one need in yourself, I need the help of God, then you will be healed. Wow. Because you will receive God's answer as you want God's answer to be. And if you want God's answer in truth, God's answer will be truly yours. So what that means is every call for love that you answer in the name of love brings the remembrance of God's love closer to your awareness.
Which is the goal.
So here's the instruction. So the instruction is, for the sake of your own need for love and help, then hear every call for help as exactly what it is, a call for the help of God, so that God can answer you. That's the answer. That's the instruction. For the sake of your own need, then, hear every call for help as a call for help so that God can answer your need for help. The end.
And it brings it back to what was being said at the beginning of this reading is when we remember that I, Greg, am afraid of God.
Unconsciously.
Doesn't matter if you understand consciously or consciously. That's just the root problem here. And my brother and sisters are all the same as I am. We're all the same here. We're all afraid of love. We're all afraid of going home.
Which means we all need help.
If we weren't, none of us would be afraid of dying. But we're all afraid of love. And to just recognize, for me it's easier just to break it down to when I feel like somebody's attacking, to recognize, oh, they're using this as they're afraid of love. And it changes the story for me personally now, is because I can see where they're coming from. That it's not from what they think I did. They're using that as an excuse
to sabotage
to
love.
Keep themselves from God, to be able to hold that hatred, that anger, that judgment, condemnation, bitterness, that guilt. They're using the situation as a justification to hold on to that. But when I recognize what's really going on, it has nothing to do with what I did. It has nothing to do with what I said.
Or you, right. That's
it has everything to do with they suffer from the same anxiety that I do, that they're terrified, not just a little bit afraid. When I read once again that we're more afraid of being resurrected,
we're more afraid of love than hate.
Than we are literally being crucified. We think that would be less painful to be crucified than having to return back into the arms of love. And when I recognize that's where that person's coming from, and that not only do they need to be healed of that false perception to be afraid of God, that's why when angels show up, they always say right away, fear not, because they know that we're so terrified of God. And that if somebody as God's representative showed up, that we would immediately be terrified
and
because we're afraid of their boss, of their representative, of God. And so if you came in the name of God, then I'm in trouble. You must have came to strike me down or something, or hurt me or something, or to take away my ability to stay in control and have my identity. But anyway, it makes sense. And I can try to be more grateful. It will be a trying, trying effort as the week goes on, because when these triggers happen, I've been thinking of them all during class. I was saying I was having a hard time coming up with examples. Boy, I was having them come to me in class, the different people that I was perceiving as attacking.
Yes, we were working on our lesson today, which is I will not trade miracles for grievances, or let miracles replace all grievances. And I was saying, and you said, well, were you able to find somebody that you hadn't forgiven to practice with? And I'm like, oh yeah, how about you? And you're like, nope. And I was like, okay, it'll come later.
Well, I wasn't, and I was being honest.
Exactly.
I was not having anybody come to mind.
Exactly, was a miracle to perceive, to be able to in that moment be like, wow, I don't have a bunch of grievances. I'm not holding a grievance right now. That's a beautiful thing to recognize. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that was chapter 12, section 1, interpreting the motives of others. And thank you so much for joining this healing circle that we are facilitating. And if you would like to support this ministry, then just share this class or this video on your social media. I am in the process of taking all of our classes and transferring them to my YouTube page, because it's so much easier to watch these classes from the YouTube page.
Yeah.
And so just know that if you would like to see this class or more of our classes in a more easy to view manner, just go on over to my YouTube page. And when you do, if you would like these classes and these ideas to go more into the world, then like, share, and subscribe, because that sets it up where the algorithms push these classes out to more YouTube subscribers.
And the YouTube page, you just type in Anna Kujawa, Kujawa.
Right.
And
exactly.
that'll take you to that page.
That's right.
She's had that page for many years, and
yes.
so we love you guys.
You guys are awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful, whatever you're having.
Practice week in the lab. Love you guys.